Sê, ek jou net weer kry. Ek vermoed ons is live. Ja, daar sê ons is live. Hi everyone, and welcome to Stitching Stories. I'm Michelle, and today we chat to someone very special, all the way from up north in our country, South Africa, and she's a crochet designer. Good day, Mariana. Welcome here with us.
Hi, Michelle. Thank you.
So, please introduce yourself. Ja, net weer kry.
Okay. I'm Mariana, and like Michelle said, I live in Centurion in the northern parts of South Africa. I'm a crochet designer, but not full-time. I still work full-time. I'm a payroll manager at an aviation company. So my crochet design takes place after hours. And yes, I'm married. I've got a son. His girlfriend lives with us. And yeah, that's basically me in a nutshell.
Thank you. Please tell us, how did you come to become a crochet designer? How did it all start?
Michelle, I started crocheting in not 19 in in 2012. Yes, in 2012 I started crocheting, and like most people, start off by making blankets. I think crochet is very well known for blankets. Started making blankets and started making some other items like shawls, but never really much else than shawls or blankets. And then in 2019, at the beginning of 2019, I was following my Square Hat. She's also a very well-known South African crochet designer, Julmi Conradi. And we started chatting, and she asked me if I would test one of her patterns. So I tested that pattern for her. And while I was busy testing the pattern for her, I also started testing for a Australian crochet designer. She goes by the name Pepper Goose. She's very well known in crochet circles. And I tested a pattern for her that was a secret test. And it was for a competition, the pattern that she designed, and that's why it was a secret. And then when the competition was over, she published the pattern, and I just fell in love with the whole process of design and how a pattern is put together. And I continued to test patterns for some well-known designers. And I think that is where the little seed was planted as to this is maybe something that I'm interested in. I didn't know if I would be any good. And I asked Susan Walsh at that stage, Pepper Goose. I asked her if I design something, if she would have a look at it for me and maybe give me a couple of pointers as to what should I look at, how should the pattern flow, and all of that. And yes, so I just dived in and I designed a small little cowl pattern, nothing spectacular. And she helped me with the whole process. And I can remember she said to me, when you now launch this pattern, and tomorrow when you wake up and the sun is still shining and it didn't fall out of the sky, then everything will be okay. Because I was so afraid to just put something out into the world. And like she said to me, the sun still shine, it didn't fall out of the sky. And that's how you just start. And that's how I started. I just started with one small little pattern, and then I moved on to the next pattern and the next, and it just grew. And I think designing, if it's not something that comes naturally to you, and I always say designing didn't come naturally to me. I'm not a overly creative person. I'm a figures person, so I like the the pattern part and writing the pattern, that ticks all the boxes for me, is that part. So to be creative is one of those things where you need, the more you do it, the better you get at it. And that's how I started with designing. And I won't say that I'm the most creative designer, but I think I'm consistent. I keep on keeping on, and I love what I do, and I love the process involved in designing. And I think that is what comes through, is that I really enjoy the whole process. So yes, that's how I got into designing.
I had a look at your Ravelry, and so I've also been crocheting for young years, but have never made a garment. And very tempted, really very tempted to grab that one of those summer teas that you've made. But let's more about that later on. Please tell me, what is your most enjoyable pattern?
I think one of my, I think all designers would say that the most enjoyable pattern is the pattern that they're currently busy with, because you in the process, and you, otherwise it will never become a pattern if you're not loving what you're doing. But if I have to look back at the patterns that I've put out there, the pattern that I really enjoyed it, and it's because of the simplicity of it, is the Sonder wrap. Um, and Sonder means that that everybody is living a unique life. And the stitch pattern that I used for the Sonder wrap was the same stitch pattern that I used for my bandana rama, as well as my liminal cardi. So you will see in some of my patterns, the same stitch pattern keeps on popping up. And that's just because I love certain stitch patterns. And the reason this one that I really loved it is I love working with an advent set, and the stitch pattern is just relaxing, and there's nothing difficult about it. So I really enjoyed making this pattern.
Looks very, very nice. And it's
Thank you.
interesting. It really looks as if if I look closer to the stitching, it's like, it's so neat. I love these straight lines.
Yes, yes. So that is it. That's a basic modification on the normal linen stitch or moss stitch in crochet. So it's just a little twist. Then it becomes unique. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to look at a stitch pattern, perhaps, and you know
But
put it
don't
in a
give all the
way
secrets
that's.
away.
Yeah. Okay, I'll shush now. I won't say how I did it.
If the people watching this video or even the live, if you like this, go and buy it. We're not giving the patterns here.
Yeah.
Uh, um, yeah, I think I need a crochet course. Do you do those too?
Unfortunately not. I used to when I started crocheting after a couple of years. I think that's the natural progression sometimes. If you have a love for people and a love for teaching, that something like a crochet class would be a natural thing to follow. But just trying to juggle everything, to work full time, to do classes, to design, it just becomes a bit too much. So you have to at some point decide what is more important to you. So I stopped the class giving completely.
And that really sounds like a challenge. So what was your most challenging pattern?
I think, again, if you do garments, then grading is a challenge. But when it comes to my shawls, the one that I really was a big challenge for me was the Take Two wrap. And I met a knitting designer, also a South African knitting designer, Jane Renton. I met her in 2022 at a crochet retreat, and she had her foxtrot shawl with her. And I loved it. I thought it was the most spectacular thing, almost like a Stephen West type shawl or wrap. And I asked her, could I get permission to try and do a crochet version of her foxtrot shawl? And she said yes. And I thought it would be easy, but it was not. To try and convert a knitting stitch into a crochet stitch is not, it didn't come easy for me. So that was quite challenging, but I really enjoyed the process. And I was really proud at the end looking at her version and my version, that it looked, when you put the two together, you can see it's it's cousins almost. So that was really challenging, but I really enjoyed the process.
So beautiful. It's really
Yeah,
so beautiful. I
yeah.
just
I
want to
think
show
there's
a
also
few
a
just
photo
yeah,
on my Ravelry of her shawl next to mine.
see where they can find it.
Just a little there between, yeah, that one. Think you there at that one. Yes, that's the one. So there you
So
can
the
see at the
bottom
top,
one is yours and the
the
top one
bottom
is
one
hers.
is correct, is the knitted one, and mine is the crochet version. So things like, knitters know what a garter stitch is. For a crocheter to now go and try and recreate garter stitch. Um, for me, I'm not a knitter, so it was even more difficult for me to understand how to recreate the stitches.
Okay. I'm just going to read quickly from the YouTube channel. We've got Suzette here. Hi, Suzette. She said, hi, Michelle and Mariana. Do you know Suzette? She's from all the way from more up north than you are.
We've got friends in common, um,
Yeah.
and I know of Suzette. So yes, I know who Suzette is.
And then Yalien say, hello, Michelle and Mariana. And then she say, Mariana's patterns are very well written and extremely professional. She's detailed orientated and Yalien, don't use big words. Materials to enjoy that her pattern are the very best before she publish.
Oh,
So
thanks, Charlene.
yeah,
I didn't
that's it.
ask Charlene to say that beforehand,
Did you?
but it sounded almost like I paid her to say something nice about me. But thanks, Charlene. Charlene is a
I
good
think
friend
she
of mine
she
as
did
well.
a test crochet for you sometime.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Um, what was and I do realize this might be a bit of a confidential because it's related to your selling, but what was your best seller to date?
You know what? The third pattern that I designed, so that's way back in 2020, was the Riptide Wrap pattern. And I mean, I published it just as lockdown hit. So for 2 years, that was my best selling pattern. And then in 2022, I decided to give it a bit of a revamp and bring it out as an Advent edition. And so the Riptide Wrap Advent edition then overtook the original Riptide Wrap pattern. And and it's still to date. I mean, that was 2022, and it's still a pattern that sells. Um, Last year as well, when it was Advent season, um, it did very well. Um, and yeah, like I said, it was just a revamp of an older pattern. I slightly changed the pattern, and I included more than one option You had an option where the little wedges that you could do either in your advent yarn, and then what I call the separator lines, so those lines that you see in the pattern, those you could then also, in the other version, you could do the separator lines in your advent yarn. If you've got a little bit of leftover yarn, you can do that and then do the wedges in a single color. So that is my most popular pattern since 2020.
Beautiful. I'm
Thank you.
just going to show some other people's ones. There's one with the separating lines being different colors. I think this one is a bit gray, or it's more neutral colors, natural colors. It's just as nice.
Yeah, and the thing is, you don't have to use only an advent set. You can use any yarn, and
oh my goodness. Sorry. Yeah, see? I knew.
yeah, there's Jalene. There's Jalene.
Okay. So if I want to become a crochet tester like Yadin, what is expected? How do I start? Do I have to have a certain level of knowledge of crochet before I put my head into something like that?
You, of course, you need to be able to crochet, even if it's just the basic stitches. So first of all, I would say that subscribe to my newsletter, because that is how I get my testers. I send out a mail to everybody on my newsletter asking them to apply. So then you've got an application form complete. And I would usually say what level is required. So whether it's a beginner-friendly pattern or if it's more advanced. And I always say I encourage people, even if they are starters, if they just got the basics, because that also gives me great feedback. If I can use someone that is on a beginner level, if they can do my pattern, then I know everybody can do a pattern that I've written. And my aim is always to make my patterns, although it might say that it's an advanced pattern or an intermediate level pattern, I aim to make my patterns as easy as possible, with as much information, videos, charts, whatever is necessary to make it as easy as possible. So yes, you don't need to be an advanced crocheter to apply. The only things that are require is that you've got a public Instagram account. And the only reason why I need you to have a public Instagram account is because my test group is run in Instagram. And if you don't have a public profile, then I can't add you to a group, because then your profile is private. So then it becomes difficult. And sometimes I run like 3 or 4 different pattern groups at one stage. And then it becomes difficult if you don't have everybody in one group. Each pattern's got their own group, but if you now want me to correspond with you via email or a different channel, then it just becomes difficult for me to run the test group. So that is the only requirement. I always say it's if you want to showcase what you've made on social media, great. I really appreciate it, but it's not necessary. I don't expect you to give me free publicity. All I need you to do is make the sample. You can do modifications if you want to, as long as you give me feedback on that, and try and keep within a deadline. I'm usually very generous when it comes to deadlines, because I know life happens. We all got other stuff to do, and testers are doing me a huge favor. I can't pay you for your time. I can't pay you for the yarn that you're going to use. So the only thing that I can do is be generous in the time that I give you. And that's it. So as easy as that, just subscribe to my newsletter, and the next time that I send out a call for testers, then you'll also get the information, and everybody's welcome to apply.
How do I get hold of your newsletter? From your Instagram account?
On my Instagram account, in my bio, there is a link. Otherwise, on my website, there's also a link where you can via my website. So my website is just sweetcrochetdreams.com. Yeah, so, but the easiest way to get hold of me is via Instagram.
And just for me, seeing the yarn behind you, but I also see that very nice garment behind you. But 2 seconds about the yarn first. Do you crochet with any type of yarn, or do you crochet only, because in the olden days, now I'm talking like in the 1900s, we used to crochet only with cotton.
Yeah.
Do you crochet with any type of yarn? Does it work for you?
I prefer natural fibers. So I have a huge love for merino yarn, and I think we've got the best merino in the world. So we are spoiled with amazing indie dyers in South Africa. So I love to work with merino. I love to work with bamboo. And this pattern here was made in bamboo. Um, Cotton, I have worked in cotton. I'm not a huge fan of cotton, especially when it comes to shawls and garments. Um, you, I think my patterns, maybe I still need to investigate that route to work more with cotton, but I prefer merino or bamboo. That's just my favorites. Um, I will work with whatever yarn I can get hold of, or that I feel is appropriate for the pattern. But yes, merino, and hand-dyed yarns. I know it's expensive, but it's just the best to work with, and I love working with it.
Please tell us about the garment next to you.
So this is my newest pattern that launched on Friday. So this is called the Serena Tea, and it is made in Venus Colors Serena. And it's got I don't know if you can see here, maybe I must just pull my dolly a little bit closer. It's got a modified um, raglan type, what do you call it now? I don't know. My English has run out now. But yeah, so it's very plain and simple. The only thing that really makes it stand out is the different stitching that's created by the A-line raglan. And it's got little cap sleeves and the same type of ribbing at the bottom. And it comes with two options where you can make either the same ribbing here at the top, or some of the testers just didn't add the ribbing. So the ribbing is added last. This pattern took me almost 6 months from start to finish. And I mean, life happened in between, but halfway through the testing period, um, we realized that the type of yarn that you use is very important. And some of the my testers didn't use bamboo yarn, and they used cotton yarn, and it was just too stiff for this effect. So and my original pattern started with this ribbing collar. And I mean, now you can just imagine if you started from here and you're working top down, and now you have to modify your design. I mean, it's the whole design that you have to now modify. So what I did halfway through testing, and this is now really behind the scenes type of things that I'm now divulging here, is I did crochet surgery. I removed this ribbing at the top, and for my testers now, because some of them were already like halfway through, almost done, and now to expect them to frog everything and start from scratch, I mean, that's just ridiculous. So I made a video and I'm going to post it on YouTube at some stage, showing everybody how I went about to remove this ribbing and just, start from there and crocheting down and making the ribbing the last feature, because I had to tweak the ribbing a little bit on this design. So this really tested my patience, and yeah, but I'm very proud of it, and it did very well so far this past weekend. So I'm really, really proud of this pattern.
It's very nice to see that you also show samples for the bigger bodies, because
Yeah, so
often
this
when I see
this
something small, like minute, small like this one, I think like
yes,
it's not going to be suitable for me,
yes.
but it's very nice to see these two.
Yeah. So the
Thank you
pattern is
for doing
graded
that.
for 9 different sizes as per the Craft Yarn Council. And I mean, the option is there. Some of the pattern testers actually added a bit to the sleeve because they said they don't like the cap sleeve. And I mean, that's personal taste. We don't all like showing off our arms, and that's perfectly okay. So some of the testers actually did add a bit of sleeve to their samples. But yes, I mean, I really try when I choose my tasters, when it's for a garment, right, is I would rather give plus size makers a chance than your smaller size, because that you see everywhere. But to make sure that a garment really fits everybody, you need your plus size tasters. And those are very scarce. I wish more plus size people will apply to test.
Yeah. So maybe I'll put my head into that one. Tell us, what's the plans for the future? Do you've got anything on your, okay, knitting we say needles, so I don't want to say hook and then it's not the terminology
No,
that's used.
that's 100% hook.
Is
What's on my
there,
hook?
what's on your hook? What can we look forward to?
So, what I've currently got on is also a little cardie that I'm finished with. That's going to go into testing within the next week or two. I actually finished the sample last year already. Um, so I've got a cardie pattern. It's very simple. The name, in fact, is Simplicity because it is so simple. It's got a little bit of detail on the sleeves and at the back, which I'm not going to show you now. So this card is going to go into testing. And then I've currently got, I'm just going to grab this here. I've got a cowl pattern that's in a granny stitch pattern, but it's worked on the bias. So I know there's 110 million granny square items out now, but this one is worked on the bias, and then it's just at the back. It's got a little nice seam, but everything is crocheted. You don't have to work away any ends, although you would think with something like this, there's going to be a million ends. The technique that I'm using to edge it, you actually work over all your ends and it creates a beautiful edge around. So that is currently in testing, and I think that's going to be released mid-March if all goes well.
Time for
Um, I
winter.
Yes, my testers haven't really updated me with any major problems, so that's going very well. Then I've just got, this is like an oversized cowl. So it's an infinity cowl. I'm just going to put it on quickly. And you would think, oh, that's nothing special. But it's a really oversized cowl. And if you look at the yarn, you would think that this is probably just a variegated yarn. But I used three different three different colors. So, and it's light and it's airy. So It's a great way to use different color yarns. Let's say you've got 3 skeins of yarn that you don't know what to do otherwise with. And the ends, because you don't carry any yarn, it's just the technique that I use to carry the yarn at the sides, but you will see there's nothing that you can see there of the yarn being carried. So although it's very simple, I like each of my patterns should either have a wow factor or it should teach someone a new technique. And I think with this one, the wow factor is that you can use 3 skeins of different yarns that you maybe otherwise didn't know what to do with. And the technique part is how to carry that yarn, that there's no strings or any ugly bits on the sides. So that's, and I'm thinking of making this a free pattern because it's simple. The idea is that maybe I'm going to do that as free pattern. I also believe in giving back, and I've received so much from the yarn community in terms of support, in terms of love, in terms of people showcasing me, like yourself, that I feel it's important to give back. So this pattern, I've just said it, it's going to be a free pattern for everybody to enjoy. Yeah, so that is what's finished. I've had a bit of a break in crochet over the past 2 months or so. So I've actually just started drawing up an idea for a new pattern. So I don't even have anything to show you other than what was finished in December already. But I'm very excited to start again and to get my hook out and start hooking. So yes, I think I'm excited for what the future holds.
Sure. I do love your cardigan that you've got on. I was looking at all the time and was trying to figure out that's not normal stitch. Don't tell us the
No,
stitching. That's not
it's
normal
not.
stitching.
It's
And
not, and that is the beauty of again, this is simplicity. But the stitch pattern that I've used, I haven't seen the stitch pattern in a garment. I've seen the stitch pattern in a shawl that someone made, but not in a garment. And it's just a nice, lightweight cardigan.
and it's short
Um,
sleeves.
it's short sleeves. So yeah, this I've now got another top underneath, but it's short sleeves. And the pattern is going to be that you can make it in 3 different lengths. So again, graded for 9 different sizes, but you can make it in 3 lengths. So either a cropped cardigan, mid-length, or a little bit longer, just to cover the bum.
The bumps,
Yep.
Okay, if we read here quickly, Yalin is laughing here. She said she did not ask, you didn't ask her, and that's the truth. And then she's also saying it is such a beautiful pattern and congratulations, Mariana. I saw it on the hot right now Ravelry list. So it made the hot list. Well done. Congratulations for that. Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't have any further questions except that I'm very excited and I will try crochet again.
You just need the right pattern, that's all.
Yeah, but I think I might have found the few there in your shop. And I'll wait for the cardigan as well because I really, really love that. I will not put my name up for test knitter because working 9 to 5 makes it difficult to commit to time. But I would love to knit that one day. Listen to me, to crochet that one day.
It almost looks like knitting, right?
With extremely big needles, maybe.
Yeah. A lacy knit.
A lacy knit. I don't know whether you've got anything else that you want to share, but before you do that, I just want to ask the people on YouTube if you want to say goodbye, if you want to say something, ask something, please do feel free to do that quickly before we go offline. I see Suzette said, after today, I will look at crochet cardigans with other eyes. That's nice.
Good, good.
Good.
Thank you.
Mariana, do you got anything else that you want to share with us?
No, I just want to say thanks, Michelle, for giving me this opportunity. And yes, just good luck to you as well with your YouTube channel. I really hope that it's going to go from strength to strength this year. And I'm looking forward to seeing who else you're going to have on your channel.
Great. Thank you very much for that. And we all wish you the best as well for this year and with the new patterns. And may all the creativity, I wanted to call them mingles, once go show you new things that you can think about to make for us.
Oh, thanks, Michelle.
Okay, I don't see any other comments here on YouTube. So I think we're going to say goodbye. Mariana, stay 2 seconds. I'm just going to close off YouTube. Thank you. Thanks for watching.
Thank
And
you.
please subscribe that you don't miss the next one. Cool. Thank you.